love someone deeply, but no matter how hard you try, you just can't be with them. Maybe the timing is wrong. Maybe life got in the way. Or maybe, despite the love, Allah simply didn't allow it. And now, you're left with a heart full of questions, pain, and silent prayers. But what if this isn't just a painful chapter? What if it's a divine lesson? Allah never lets you feel deeply without purpose. When you can't be with someone you love, it's not just a test of emotions. It's a test of faith. There's a reason behind the distance, behind the unanswered prayers, behind the silent goodbyes. And if you pause long enough, you might begin to see the deeper message Allah is sending your heart. This video will explore what Allah is really teaching you when love doesn't go your way, and why it's a blessing in disguise. 1. Unfulfilled love isn't always rejection. When you love someone but can't be with them, it can feel like the world is closing in. You might question, why would Allah let me feel something so deep, only to end in silence, distance, or impossibility? But what seems like rejection is often a form of protection and divine redirection. Allah, in His infinite wisdom, sees what you cannot. He knows what the future holds, what is hidden in someone's heart, and what path will lead you closer to Him, and what will take you away. We often attach ourselves to people because of how they make us feel in the moment. But Allah is not only concerned with your emotions, He is concerned with your soul, your growth, and your ultimate destination. When He doesn't allow something to continue, it may be because it was never meant to serve your higher purpose. Sometimes the door remains closed because your heart needs to learn that true peace isn't found in people, but in submission to Allah's will. What feels like a loss is actually guidance. It's Allah redirecting you, gently but firmly, toward what is truly better for you, both in this life and the next. 2. Allah replaces what's taken with something better. When something or someone is taken away from your life, especially someone you deeply love, it can feel like a void no one else can fill. But Allah never takes without giving. The key is, what He gives in return might not always be the same type of blessing. It might be deeper, more lasting, and better for your soul. Sometimes you lose a person but gain clarity, peace, or a stronger connection with your Creator. Other times, Allah removes someone to make space for something more aligned with your purpose, a spouse who brings you closer to Jannah, or a new phase of life where your heart is finally at ease. You may not see the wisdom immediately, but over time, the pieces begin to fall into place. Allah says in the Quran, "Perhaps you dislike something, and it is good for you." Surah Al-Baqarah 216. What He gives is not always what you want, but it's always what you need. The love you lost might be replaced with something far greater, a love that leads you toward Him, not away. Trust that Allah's compensation is never random. It's perfectly tailored for your journey, your healing, and your growth. 3. Love can be a test. Love is one of the most powerful emotions Allah places in our hearts, but it can also be one of the most difficult trials. When you love someone, and things don't unfold the way you hoped, it can test your patience like nothing else. You begin to realize that not every strong feeling leads to a lasting relationship, and that's where sabr becomes essential. This kind of love teaches you restraint. You may want to act on your emotions, chase what you desire, or hold on to someone who isn't written for you. But instead, you choose to surrender that pain to Allah and wait with dignity. That is real sabr, not just patience in hardship, but patience in love and longing. And while you wait or let go, you learn tawakkul, relying on Allah completely. You stop obsessing over outcomes and start trusting, that Allah is managing your affairs with more wisdom than you can comprehend. Every unspoken dua, every hidden tear becomes part of your worship. In this way, unfulfilled love becomes more than heartbreak. It becomes a training ground, where your heart learns to balance emotion with faith, and where your soul learns to lean entirely on the one who never disappoints. 4. Separation may be protection. Sometimes when a relationship doesn't work out, we immediately think something went wrong. But what if things actually went right, just in a way we can't yet understand? In His mercy, Allah often removes people from our lives not as a punishment, but as a shield. There are things hidden from our eyes, character traits, future hardships, emotional burdens, that Allah, in His infinite knowledge, protects us from through separation. You might feel that the love was sincere, the bond was special, and the future looked promising. But only Allah knows what that future truly holds. Perhaps being with that person would have led to spiritual harm, emotional instability, or distance from your purpose. Maybe the relationship would have delayed your growth, or brought pain you weren't ready to carry. We often pray for happiness, peace, and success, yet when Allah responds by removing someone, we resist. But that removal may be the exact answer to your dua. Protection doesn't always look like a miracle. Sometimes it looks like a goodbye. Trusting that Allah is safeguarding your heart from what you cannot see is part of deep faith. His wisdom is not always understood in the moment, but it is always perfect. Pain in love can purify the soul. Heartbreak has a unique way of stripping away the layers of distraction and ego. When you experience pain from loving someone you can't have, it brings you face to face with your vulnerability. That pain, though heavy, has the potential to cleanse your heart and bring you closer to Allah in ways comfort never could. Emotional hardship humbles the soul. It reminds you that no matter how strong your feelings are, you are not in control. Allah is. And in those quiet moments of sadness, when no one else truly understands what you're going through, you start turning to the one who does. Your du'as become more sincere. Your sujood becomes deeper. Your tears become a form of worship. This pain, if responded to with patience and reflection, becomes a path to purification. It softens your heart, increases your empathy, and deepens your connection with your Creator. It teaches you to love with boundaries and to place Allah at the center of your heart, not people. In this way, what feels like emotional loss becomes spiritual gain. The more your heart breaks for the dunya, the more it begins to long for peace with Allah, and that is the highest form of healing. 6. Prioritize love for Allah. Human love, no matter how intense, is limited. People can change, leave, or disappoint, but Allah's love is constant, perfect, and unconditional. When you experience deep emotional attachment to someone, it's easy to let that person take up the center of your heart. But sometimes, Allah allows certain situations, like not being able to be with someone you love, to remind you where your heart truly belongs. Prioritizing love for Allah means you don't let anyone compete with Him for space in your soul. It means your identity, peace, and sense of purpose aren't dependent on any person, but anchored in your connection with your Creator. This doesn't mean you can't love others. Islam encourages love, but it should never override your love for Allah or make you lose yourself in the process. When you make Allah the foundation of your emotional world, you gain strength that no loss can shake. You stop needing people to complete you, because your heart feels whole through your relationship with Him. This shift in love transforms how you handle attachment, disappointment, and even longing. It realigns your soul with the one who created it. And there is no love more fulfilling than that. 7. Allah's wisdom is greater than our desires. We often chase what we think will bring us happiness, a certain person, relationship, or outcome. Our hearts become set on specific desires, and when they don't come true, we feel shattered. But what we forget is that our knowledge is limited. We see only a small part of the picture, while Allah sees it all, the past, the present, and every possibility the future holds. What you desire with all your heart may not be what your soul needs to thrive. Sometimes that very thing could lead you down a path of spiritual harm, emotional instability, or wasted purpose. Allah, in His supreme wisdom, intervenes. He doesn't deny you out of cruelty, He withholds out of care. He delays, redirects, or even removes what you ask for, because He knows what will truly benefit you, not just in this world, but for your akhirah. Our desires are often shaped by emotion, but Allah's decisions are rooted in eternal knowledge. When you submit to His will, even when it contradicts what you want, you begin to experience true peace. You realize that the heart finds real contentment not when it gets what it wants, but when it trusts what Allah chooses. Remember, when you love someone but can't be with them, Allah's wisdom is greater than our understanding. Trust His plan, be patient, and keep your heart connected to Him. May Allah grant you peace, ease your pain, and guide you to what's best in this life and the hereafter. If this message touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Inner Deen for more uplifting reminders. Comment below with this prayer. O Allah, guide my heart and grant me what is best for my soul. Let's support each other on this beautiful journey of faith.